Welcome everyone to Clarkie's Closet, a podcast. Written 2000, performed at Windsor High School 2001, Dodge City, a musical. Hi everybody, and I hope you're all well. Broadcasting to you, or narrowcasting, or casting, whatever I'm doing, from Sydney, Australia. Up here at Bowen Mountain, looking down on the beautiful Sydney Basin. We're about 70 kilometres northwest of the Central Business District, as they call it. And today's show is about Dodge City, as I said. I said musical, not musical comedy, because, well, it isn't. It was funny initially, and when I put it on, it had a lot of farcical elements and several characters that were taken from the work when I reworked it. So as it exists now, it's really a story about a gunslinger called Jimmy, who's a bit of a handful in Dodge City circa 1880, after Wyatt Earp had left, and he's a problem. But unfortunately, the sheriff has a little bit of a drinking problem, and that became more the focus of the story as it exists now. And of course, there's a major love triangle type thing going on. Virginia is the girl who sings in the bar. She's obviously a very beautiful southern woman, and she has a few cracks at men from the north, the Civil War having been only about 20 years prior to this, of course, less 15 years, finished in 1665. So she's still got a bit of a thing about what happened to Georgia, where she hails from. And in the story, there's a young man called Daniel who's madly in love with her, where a young girl from behind the bar loves him, but he doesn't even really notice her because he's so in love with Virginia, the singer from the bar. And our first song is called Goin Home to Georgia, because at the beginning of the story it becomes quite clear she can be quite a nasty person, and she is quite dismissive of men from the north. And this upsets Daniel rather a lot. And so this first song is when she gets a letter from her ex, and she's going back home to Georgia to meet him again. And so I sent this one to the governor of Georgia at the time, and he replied, which was very, very courteous of him, I thought. So this is Going Home to Georgia.
I've been from the sight of my lover's eyes for too many years. For too many years, I've been full of pride, far from my lover's side. For too many years, far too many tears. So now he's finally called me, I must go upon my way, and the train I will be boarding is gonna take me far away, to the place where I was born and raised and taught, and then was courted by a man who's finally sorted out his life and waits for me. I'm sorry, my friends, I must be going home to Georgia, sweet Georgia, where the sun is as smooth as a velvet in Tennessee. I'm sorry, my friends, but I must be going home to Georgia, sweet Georgia, where my love is waiting, where my lover is waiting. I've been all alone, far too far from home, for too many years, for too many years. I've been kicking round on this northern ground for too many years, for too many tears. So now he's finally called me, I must go upon my way, and the train I will be boarding is gonna take me far away, to the place where I was born and raised and taught, and then was courted by a man who's finally sorted out his life and waits for me. I'm sorry, my friends, I must be going home to Georgia, sweet Georgia, where the corn is as deep and as wide as the Mississippi. I'm sorry, my friends, but I must be going home to Georgia, sweet Georgia, where my love is waiting, where my lover is waiting. And one day, maybe, if a wagon train should bring me past here, we could celebrate the first friends, but I must be going home to Georgia, sweet Georgia, where the stars are as clear as this letter he's written to me. I'm sorry, my friends, but I must be going home to Georgia, sweet Georgia, where my love is waiting, where my lover is waiting. Ooh, yeah. Waiting for me. I'm sorry, my friends, but I must be going home to Georgia, sweet Georgia, where my love is waiting, where my lover is waiting for me. For me. For me. Where my lover waits for me.
Virginia, the horrible lady, who she always calls him Nathaniel, kind of on purpose, and she knows that he's smitten with her. She sort of toys with him, and then, of course, as we just heard, she goes back off to Georgia, and Dodge City, of course, is in Kansas, and he is quite distraught by this. The poor old barmaid, Sally, who loves Daniel deeply, can't understand why he is so smitten with her. Well, it's because she's beautiful, I guess. Men are often easily subdued by beauty, aren't they? I know I am, but my wife won't give me a permission slip, and so that's the end of that. Okay, so what happens next? That's right, he sings a song where he is lamenting the fact that she's going, and this is a song called A Last Ray of Hope. He is just hoping against hope that she doesn't go and that she stays in Dodge City, but he hasn't got much hope.
There has to be a last ray of hope before you leave me, little girl. There has to be a last ray of hope before you go.
Last blade of grass before the desert begins, and a last drop of rain before the drought takes hold. There has to be one last degree it takes for water to freeze, and one last degree which brings the ice to thaw. There has to be a last ray of hope before you leave me, little girl. There has to be a last broken dream before the dawn. There has to be a last song of spring before the summer springs again. There has to be a last ray of hope before you go. Last breath of air before her life disappears, and a final push before the child is born. There has to be a last shade of grey to take the darkness away, and a last ray of light before the darkness falls. There has to be a last ray of hope before you leave me, little girl. There has to be a last summer dream before the fall. There has to be a last sunny day before the whole world blows away. There has to be a last ray of hope before you go. Before you of fall before the Windsor catches all. There has to be a last ray of hope before you go. Before you go. Before you go. Before you go.
And it would be remiss of me not to mention that I had a real drummer for this particular show, and that was my brother Julian, Juz, as he's known. Thank you, Juz, for all of your drumming on Dodge City. Gives a slightly different feel to Dodge City compared to the other plays, I think, and a nice one too. And John Samperi, who's playing the keyboards and the piano very nicely, and that adds a lot too. So thank you to both of those then young men, not quite so young now. This was 22 years ago. That's why I forget certain things about the plot and about the character names. It was a long time ago since I've written this and a long time since I've seen it. So, where are we now? Oh, yes, at this point, I also wanted to mention that Jessica Zamprogno, I mention her each time because she's the female voice in all of these recordings. So I thank her very much because she does a very good job. In this next one, we finished the first act with a song about Jimmy. He's the horrible gunslinger who is really terrorising the town, and everyone's very scared, and they're relying on the sheriff to come good, but as I said, he's got a drinking problem. But this song at the end is where the young men, the chorus, in this case half a dozen young men, are singing about extolling the virtues, really, of Jimmy and how he's a real man and a gunslinger, and he shoots high and he, that sort of stuff. And the girls are saying, "You're kidding," basically. It's very Grease-like, you got the guys and the girls having a go at each other and disagreeing on fundamental points of human nature. So here it is. This is a song all about the bad man, Jimmy.
Jimmy don't care for the nighttime. He don't care where the nighttime been. As long as they get home before the sun comes up, it doesn't really matter to Jim. Jimmy don't care for the daylight, or if the sun is out or in. Jimmy don't care if the air is still, or if it's tortured by the howling wind.
Listen, who does Jimmy think he's fooling? This Jimmy sounds a goddamn fool, same as any other man who thinks that Jimmy's being cool for doing what he's doing when he's only fooling him.
Jimmy is a rambling roller. He's high, then he's low, then he's gone. He's the coolest, the hottest, the quickest gun that anybody laid eyes upon.
No, Jimmy is a sad little loner who never staked a claim of his own. He carries his love in his holster belt and a bag full of hate in his soul.
But listen, Jimmy don't need nobody at all.
Everybody needs somebody to call.
He'll never fall in love, cause he never falls. There ain't no need to worry about Jim.
Tell me what's he gonna do when he's frail and old?
He'll snuggle up in bed beside his 45 Colt.
Sound like Jimmy got a problem to solve.
There ain't no need to worry about Jim.
Listen, who does Jimmy think he's fooling? This Jimmy sounds a goddamn fool, same as any other man who thinks that Jimmy's being cool for doing what he's doing when he's only fooling him.
Jimmy don't care about dying. He ain't scared of nothing at all. Jimmy don't care about fear or love. He don't care about nothing at all.
Well, if Jimmy don't care about nothing, then nothing sure is all he's got. And he must be the meanest and the loneliest man that ever was arranged by God.
But listen, Jimmy don't need nobody at all.
Everybody needs somebody to call.
He'll never fall in love, cause he never falls. There ain't no need to worry about Jim.
Tell me what's he gonna do when he's frail and old?
He'll snuggle up in bed beside his 45 Colt.
Sounds like Jimmy's got a problem to solve.
There ain't no need to worry about Jim.
And this tells you how observant I am, I just noticed, I had a look on the wall because the next song actually won me a certificate of merit from the Australian National Song Competition in 2001. And I just noticed it said 9th place. I didn't know it actually had a place. I thought it was just a, thanks for coming sort of an award. But no, that's good. I actually got in the top 10. This song begins the second act. And it really is about America at this time. Around about 1880 is a watershed time in America. And when we're just away from Edison, etc., and Tesla and Marconi's discoveries and the trains, the Pony Express is giving way to steam travel, and the Indians are in reservations, and the Wild West is really no more. Jimmy, the Gunslinger, has already become an anachronism. And the next song mentions all of that. It's basically about where America was at that time, a great country about to burgeon. And, have a listen to the song. It's called Ready to Roll.
One more locomotive ready to roll. One more city getting ready to grow. One more printing press ready to let them all know that the telegraph is over on the Pony Express. The telephone's connected in Connecticut. The transatlantic cable is joining the new to the old.
Well, the phonograph is pumping like an old tin drum. The light bulbs is a-flashing cause that son of a gun Edison's lighting everything he can see with some newfangled thing called electricity.
One more locomotive ready to roll. One more city getting ready to grow. One more printing press ready to let them all know that once and for all them slaves is free. The USA spells liberty with a head full of steam and more coal to mine. The whole dang country is working overtime. One more locomotive ready to roll. One more city getting ready to grow. One more printing press ready to let them all know. The next thing you know, it's the car and the radio. One more locomotive ready to roll. One more city getting ready to grow. One more printing press ready to let them all know that the West grows less wild every day. Them Indians is running around in disarray. Law and all's catching up the sound of the gun. And we're here to tell you that the West is nearly won. One more locomotive ready to roll. One more city getting ready to grow. One more printing press ready to let them all know that the telegraph is over on the Pony Express. The telephone's connected in Connecticut. The transatlantic cable is joining the new. The transatlantic cable is joining the new. The US of A is ready to rock and roll.
And we get to see Jimmy again at this point in the story, and he is making threats that he's going to cause trouble in the town. And the sheriff, of course, is questionable whether he's actually up to it. But when he does come into the bar, Daniel decides he's going to maybe take him on. And so the gunslinger, a nasty fella called Jimmy Hackett, says to him, "Listen, mate, this is not..." Well, that's the Australian way he would have said it, but he didn't say that because he's not Australian. But he basically said to him in the Australian vernacular, "Listen, mate, this is not a good time to stick your head up above the trenches to have a look around." And he actually sings him this song, which is "No Time to Grow a Backbone, Son."
The night I was born, there was a comet in the sky. A she-wolf howled as the eagles would fly. Conceived in a nightmare to live it by squall. I tuned to my own umbilical cord. The cadence of sound with the strength of my lungs. The blood-red moon in the canopy hum. Preached by cougar, tutored by snake. kill any man. I will kill any man. I will kill any man. Gets in my way. Get out of my way. No time to grow a backbone, son. If you see me cook and you won't stay alive, don't cross my path, don't catch my eye, don't laugh, don't bend, don't look my way. Bow your head and walk your way. Got a belly full of anger, got a head full of hate. I'm as vicious as a twister on a fresh turned grave. I'm as mean as a rattler, angry as a stone, the baddest cowboy ever been born. I will kill any man. I will kill any man. I will kill any man. Gets in my way. Get out of my way. This ain't no time to grow a backbone, son. No time to grow a backbone, son. I said I will kill any man. I will kill any man. I will kill any man who gets in my way. Get out of my way. This ain't no time to grow a backbone, son. No time to grow a backbone, son. This ain't no time to grow a backbone, son. No time to grow a backbone, son.
So things are looking pretty dire for Dodge City. Wyatt Earp is long gone and their sheriff is having some real problems with his drinking. And Daniel and all the rest of the boys can't really do much about it. There's nothing much they can do against a really awful man like Jimmy Hackett. In the meantime, however, Virginia has returned, but she's returned without her ex-husband, her ex-beau, because he's been killed en route. And so because of that, she is sort of giving her favours back to Daniel, much to the chagrin of Sally, who has got together with Daniel in her absence. So there's a little bit of romantic friction occurring there. But when Jimmy comes back and he's looking for trouble, he finds it. He's basically taking on the town and sort of lording it over everybody. And Virginia ends up getting out a Derringer gun, those little tiny guns that sometimes women used. Part of my research into this, because I didn't know a lot about this period of American history, part of my research on the Derringer was that there were two of them. There was a single shot and a double shot, and women would often keep them in their boot. Well, of course, she uses one of her shots, and Jimmy, who's already unloaded his gun, says to her, "Oh, I think you're in a bit of trouble there, miss. I believe that's a single-shot Derringer," to which he replies, "Well, you're wrong about that, Jimmy. It's a double-shot Derringer." And before he can rectify his mistake, she shoots him, and she kills the bad man. And then, of course, she goes for Daniel, but Daniel is no longer interested. He's fallen in love with Sally. And so this next song, which is called The Best Laid Plans of Mice and Men, actually won me a merit certificate in the National Song Contest of 2001 as well. I was quite happy getting a couple of minor awards for both those songs. Anyway, this next song is the wedding song for Sally and for Daniel. So here we go. The Best Laid Plans of Mice and Men.
The forest is green, the sky is blue. Into the dream, I follow you. Here is a stream, a mountain view. I hear my name on the wind. Over the hills, the welcoming knell, the distant chime of the dinner bell. Here is a farm with an old stone well. And all the time, I hear my name. The echoes fall like dainty rain. I hear your voice and I'm so in love with you. I'm so in love with you. Honey, how come I never loved you? It's funny in spite of the things we do. How again and again, the best laid plans of mice and of men, a falling by the wayside, a tumbling weed through the dusty towns. That's all I was, hardly touching the ground, breezing along, never hearing a sound, until I heard my name on the wind. Into the dream I follow you. Here is the farm, the mountain view. Here is the well of my dreams come true. And all the time, the sweet refrain of echoes drop like a dainty rain. I hear your voice and I'm so in love with you. I'm so in love with you. Honey, sometimes I almost knew. It's funny, in spite of the things we intended to do, how again and again the best laid plans of mice and of men have fallen by the wayside. I was a tumbleweed till I heard my name on the wind. Ruthless, lifeless, without seed, until you called my name on the wind. Until you called my name on the wind. And all the time, the sweet refrain of echoes drop like a dainty rain. I hear your voice and I'm so in love with you. I'm so in love with you. Honey, how come I never knew? It's funny, in spite of the things we do, how again and again the best laid plans of mice and men have fallen by the wayside. I'm so in love with you. Honey, sometimes I almost knew. It's funny, in spite of the things we intended to do, how again and again the best laid plans of mice and of men have fallen by the wayside. Honey, honey.
And there you have it. Essentially all ends well. Well, it does for Daniel and for Sally, poor old Virginia. She's missed out because she didn't know what she had when she had it and she threw it all away. And Sally got Daniel. So that's all very happy. And of course, everybody in Dodge City is happy because Virginia has killed the man who was terrorising their town. So that's Dodge City. I hope you enjoyed that short rundown. There's about a dozen songs in the show, and I've just chosen a few of them to play you today. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. Next week, we are going to the last of my musical comedies, which doesn't exist. I'll tell you more about it next week, but I've written all of the songs, but I never ended up writing the actual script. I might well end up doing that, and I'll tell you more about that next week. It's been nice being with you. This is Mark Clark. I hope you've enjoyed today's cast, narrowcast, broadcast, whatever sort of cast it was. Dodge City. Next week we're going to school reunion. If you're interested in any of my work, go to markclark.com.au.